This is Shane again from rkdrums, and we're continuing our roaster build. See the previous video on the layout of all the tools and the different pieces of hardware. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get started with the build. And the first thing that we want to do is kind of generally lay out how we're going to put things together. So I'm going to go ahead and clear off my work area and move all the parts that I don't need out of the way. All I want to do is generally get my layout of how everything is going to go. So the parts that I'm going to need right now is just the bigger hardware pieces, which is going to be your rotisserie, the motor mounts, your rotisserie brackets, and this stuff can stay here for the time being. So first step we're going to do is we're going to lay out our drum and our rotisserie. We're just going to mock it up. So I'm going to grab my Allen wrenches and we're going to loosen up our hardware. So this is what we call the bearing. This is the part that rides in the bracket, and in the case of the 12-pound drum we actually have two of these, one here and one here. We have our rotisserie handle, and we have a couple of what we call collars. Those also have Allen screws in them. Two of these are going to be used to hold the drum in place, and two of them are going to hold the wooden handle in place. I'm just going to loosen these up, and I'm going to take them off. So we'll capture all of those. I'll put these over here to the side, and then I'm going to loosen this one, and we're going to take these off as well. So if you're right-handed or left-handed, you're going to want your strongest hand on. For example, if you're right-handed, you want this on the right-hand side. If you're left-handed, you'll want to flip it around this way. So make sure that your strongest hand is your strongest favoring hand is going to be on the side you're going to work with. So in this case, I'm right-handed, so I'm going to put this on the handle on the right. I'm going to start by putting on a collar, and then the rotisserie handle, and then another collar. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use the Allen wrench, and I'm going to lock the collar into position. Right here at the end is just fine. I'm just going to tighten that up, and I'm going to do the same with this other one, kind of locking the handle in place. Now probably, you know what, I'll probably go a little bit further out, so just going to go right to the end. There we go. All right, the next thing that we're going to have, there we go, that's nice and sturdy. Then I'm going to take my bearing, and I'm going to position this on here like this. It doesn't really matter which way you put it on. You can either put it on this way, or you can put it on this way. I kind of like it going this way because it gives me a little more room between the bracket and the grill. And I'm just going to snug this up. For right now, it doesn't really matter where this goes. I'm just going to snug that up. Doesn't really matter right now. And so the next things that I want to look at here is my rotisserie bracket is going to sit right here on this side, and then we're going to have a rotisserie bracket on this other side opposing, like that. Now keep in mind, this is a 12-pound kit. It's going to have a rotisserie bracket on both sides. So we're going to put the rotisserie in like this. The 12-pound kit has two rotisserie brackets. All the smaller kits have one. While you might think that the second rotisserie bracket is somehow helpful, on the smaller kits it's actually more of an encumbrance, and we like to remove this on the smaller kits. If anything, it kind of slows us down. So I'd really rather not use the one on the motor side if we can help it. But for now, we're just going to kind of mock this up. All right, the next thing we're going to look at is the base plate. The base plate is this plate right here. It gives us a firm mounting surface to mount the motor to. And if you look at how it's laid out, I'll show you here real quickly. You have two holes narrow and you have two holes wide. The reason for the narrow holes is because we can put our bolts in through the bottom of this plate, and that gives us a way to slide this motor back and forth so we can align things horizontally. and then the motor, of course, will slide up and down on this plate to align things vertically. So we're just going to mock this up. The smaller, the more narrow holes will go closest to the grill, and then I'm going to position my motor just roughly here. Now, I do want this motor as far away from the heat as I can get it. Heat and motors, heat and electronics, they don't always go well together, so the more distance I can put between the handle and the motor, the better off things are going to be. In this case, I'll probably mount it over here as far away as I can get it because I've got a longer 50-inch rod and it gives me a lot of room to work with. All right, so right now I'm just mocking things up. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put on one more collar. Now the next set of collars are to lock the drum into place. So this collar now is going to go on next. And then we're going to take our drum. This is a 12-pound drum. And we're going to slide the rotisserie rod through the drum, like that. Now, we do want the door to be on the opposite side of your handle. The handle is going to be on this side. It's just easier if the door is on this side. This is our door. We have a latch. We can open and close the drum like so, and you can see in here we have a bunch of different stirring vanes on side to kind of agitate our product. So we do want the door on this side, and then we are going to follow up with another locking collar to lock it in place. Just drop it on. And then finally our second bearing. This all can be loose for right now. We're just trying to get things lined up. Okay, now that we kind of have it all mocked up, let's go ahead and position our drum into the grill. What we want to make sure here is that you can position the drum in the grill without it rubbing anything. Make sure that you do a full spin of things, make sure that it's not going to hit. So this one turns nicely. Once we put the brackets on, it's going to be just fine. I'm going to go ahead and cut this price tag off. Don't need that any longer. Get rid of that. And then, so we're just trying to get a feel for how this is going to all go together. So the next step that I'm going to have to do is I'm definitely going to have to put on these rotisserie brackets, so that's going to be our next step. So we kind of have an idea of how this is all going to go. We're going to leave enough room to have our motor over here. The motor is going to sit on this side of the plate. That means this rotisserie rod is going to have to slide that way, which is perfectly fine. And then I'm going to line up my collars and my bearings and get it all lined up. So that'll be the end of this video, and we're going to go ahead next and start with the bracket installation. And so just kind of get everything mocked up, and then once we get our brackets on, we'll be able to really position things really well. So stay tuned for the next video.